Good evening, people. Hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dan Potts. I'm on my own tonight. I can see Mark in the chat already saying he's not going to be on his own. I am going to be on my own. I'm going to be doing this every night. Going to be doing a late night roundup and just about the news and the transfer news and just football in general. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. First of all, I was trying to catch the last Q3 of the F1, but unfortunately, it's rained, so it's all red flagged it off. So, gonna have to work out what happens after that one. Lots of news, lots of transfer news, and one thing that I will say for all of you gooners in the chat, we are doing things early for the first time in a while. So we can't be too negative. But there are some ups and downs at the moment. It's all a bit up in the air at the moment. And we still haven't got anybody over the line. But of course, we're only in the last first few days of the window. We're going to be getting into that. We're going to be getting into the links. We're going to be talking about what you would like to see at the Arsenal and, of course, in your football clubs as well. We're also going to be talking about the links to let's laugh at this. PSG for Mikel Arteta. Maybe we shouldn't laugh too loud. Maybe it is serious, but I just cannot see any massive truth to him going. I really can't. I think it would be mad for Mikel Arteta to leave Arsenal when he's been backed and been given this loyalty, and now looks like he's going to have a huge summer. So we're going to get into that first. Make sure you do me a favor. I am literally only a number of literally a few away from 9k. My next target's 10k, people, but first of all, I need to get to 9k. So if you could do that for me now, that would be amazing. All you got to do is smash like, hit subscribe. It's absolutely free to do, and it takes like 2 seconds while you're watching, and it really does mean a lot. So that's my target tonight, is to hit 9k with you guys. I'm literally about 14 or 15 away, so there's 162 of you in here already, so please make sure you do that. That would be amazing. It would be superb to get that while we are going live. Let's talk about it. I don't know what you guys think. I think it's a bit mad. I don't know where it's come from, this link to PSG with Mikel Arteta. I personally feel like it would be a really strange move. PSG are a side that have always gone for win us something now managers. You've seen in the past the likes of Ancelotti, the likes of Conte or Simeone or Thomas Tuchel, the kinds of managers that would win now. But having said that, it looks like PSG are going down a different route. There's a lot of rumours about Kylian Mbappe right now leaving. Now, whether it will be this summer, next summer, who knows? It looks to me as if it will probably be Real Madrid that come in for Kylian Mbappe. Neymar, we've already spoken about on previous shows on this channel about where he might be playing next season, and the fact that there's a few clubs sniffing around him, and PSG would actually be happy to get rid of him on loan and just let someone pay the wages because they just want him out of the club. And then, of course, there's Lionel Messi, who's gone over to America now. So actually, they're losing quite a lot of their key players. And the rumor is that they're going to be looking to implement young players that are replacing them and go down a different route where PSG can become a little bit more self-sustainable as they have been in the last few, where they've just buy a player here, buy a player there, splash the cash, splash the money. And at times it hasn't worked for them. And I think that PSG, for me, winning the league is not enough. When you're a side of Paris Saint-Germain in the Farmers League that everybody calls it, sometimes winning the league isn't enough. Sometimes you need a Champions League with that, and definitely the domestic cups that they play as well. And when they don't do that, they seem to want to sack their managers. Now, PSG haven't actually got anywhere near a Champions League, really, have they? You know, they flirted with it. They got to a final. They got to semi-final. When have you ever looked at that team and thought, that's the side that's going to win it? Individually, you'll probably look at it and go, whoa, individually, that's a good side. You know, Donnarumma in goal, Hakimi's at the back, and they've had in the past the players that they've had, Thiago Silva's, and now they've got Ramos, and they look at Marquinhos. And then in midfield, Verratti for me is one of the most underrated players of the last decade. I think he's been sensational. No one seems to talk about how good this guy is. But of course, on top of that, they've had the players up top that we've just spoken about. That front three has been sensational. But I have to say, it's been a disappointment for me as a team. I don't think they've ever had the best team. They've had the best individuals, but not always the best team. So I want to talk a little bit on Mikel Arteta to PSG. I will be stunned if this happens. In fact, I could put my house on the fact that it won't happen. I think Mikel Arteta is very happy at Arsenal. I think the fan base overall are pretty happy with Mikel Arteta. You get some that have concerns. I've had concerns in the past. You get some that want him out still now. But if you was to do a vote, I'd say 80% of the fan base are happy, maybe more than that, with what Mikel Arteta has done and is doing currently. The season that we've just had, nobody expected us to be in a title race, and I think he's going to build on that in the summer. There's a lot of rumours that Kroenkes are going to provide a lot of funds, and they're already targeting who they want. It'd be very bizarre now for PSG to go in for Mikel Arteta. Now, if it was to happen and PSG don't get someone for another season, then perhaps they'll look at what Arsenal do, and Mikel Arteta might look at what Arsenal do this coming season and then decide on his future if it was up in the air. For example, I would have concerns if Arsenal don't win something this coming season. If we don't win the title, we don't have a trophy again, and we do fail to get that title, I need to be seeing something soon. When is it okay to ask us to win? I just don't see that happening, to be honest. I think Mikel Arteta and PSG just isn't compatible for me. I just don't understand where this has come from and if it will happen. Big up to Fergus in the chat, by the way. Big up Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Make sure you go over. These guys need to get to 1K and they're really, really close to it, man. So make sure you go and help these guys. Literally go and support them. They're great guys, great channel, and people I go football with regularly. Says Arteta to PSG. Arteta, if he went to PSG, would be totally against his ethos and methods. Yeah, literally what I just said. I totally agree with it. It is bizarre. The only place I can see Mikel Arteta looking is potentially going back to Man City. I can't believe I'm just going to say what Fergus has just said. My only fear is if Pep goes, he goes back to City. You should be on here with me, man. But two minds that are thinking alike that don't always think alike, Fergus. So there we go. Make sure you head over to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, people. But this one just I don't see happening. I think that it's fair for them to be interested in a young manager. If they want to go down this route of getting young players, I'm totally with it. Like, if that's where they want to go, then he would probably be one of a number of managers they would be looking at. But I just think it would be crazy for Mikel Arteta to walk away now, especially when Arsenal have shown that much loyalty. Now, a lot of people in the chat were laughing, saying, why the hell do they want Arteta? He hasn't won anything. I think what they're looking at is going down this different route, and that's the only thing I can think of. If they want to go and win a trophy with that team, most managers should be able to do it, to be honest. They've had Unai Emery, they've had Pochettino, they've tried Thomas Tuchel, they've tried the winners of the Carlo Ancelottis of this world. They've kind of tried everything. I think what they want to do is look at something long-term and look at a project. And there's not many managers at the moment, or many teams, should I say, that want a manager that wins now. There's not many. I can't think of any managers at the moment that would go into a team and win something now. That's not the way it wants to be. For me, there's a lot of people that want a project manager. That's why when teams are losing managers, they're looking at Vincent Kompany or Michael Carrick, or they're looking at Arne Slot from Feyenoord. They're not looking at the Diego Simeones or the Carlo Ancelottis anymore. Now, some of those teams are not going to get those managers. I get that. But if I'm Arsenal and let's say Arteta goes, I've always said I want someone who can win now. What you need is a team that can win now. And I think Arsenal are now building that slowly. So if Mikel Arteta was to leave Arsenal in the next couple of years, let's say that it goes wrong for him and he goes, I would be more than happy for an Ancelotti to come in because I feel like he could win with that team. And I do feel that we're going to find out this summer whether Mikel Arteta is a win now manager, or if he's the Brendan Rodgers or the Pochettino, who just wasn't able to get that team to that level. But then Jurgen Klopp comes into Liverpool, takes that Brendan Rodgers team on, adds some quality to it and goes and wins. And that's what I'm looking at. So I will know all I need to know this summer and the end of the season. I'll know all I need to know from Arsenal this summer in relation to the Kroenkes. Are they going to put out the money where their mouth is? Are they going to tell everybody in the world that they're going to be winning stuff in America and they're coming to England to do the same with Arsenal? Prove it. Or if they don't, I'm going to be looking at them. I'm going to be questioning them. I'm going to have concerns about them. If they do give everything to Edu and to Arteta and it doesn't work out, I'm going to be looking at them going, do you know what, Mikel, you've had everything, man. It's close to £1 billion now you've spent. You need to win something. Now, people will say he was already won something. Yeah, he did win something, but it was with Unai Emery's side. I need to see this side, which at the moment I love, by the way. I need to see it, man. I need to see it. Got to win something for me. Get your questions in the chat, by the way. Make sure you put a Q on it. I'd love to take some of your questions tonight about all of this nonsense that we're hearing, which I'm going to call it nonsense, to be fair. That's the way that we see it. Let's take this one. This has come from Fergus. Big up, Ferg. Dan, the question, is Arteta the man to win the league with Arsenal, or will he build the foundation for the next manager? Mate, literally, me and you on the same wavelength. That's what I've just said. I believe that we will find that out this season. If you were to ask me, I think he might be the nearly guy. I think he's proven that he bottles stuff, whatever you want to call it that. I think it's that. Some people think he haven't bottled it. Man City were too good. I think he's proven that he can just fall at the final hurdle, and that's for top four and for trophies, for Europe, and now for the title. But actually, there's a lot off the field, and I've said this a lot, that he's done that's very, very impressive. There's not many managers that would have taken Aubameyang, Ozil, all those guys on, all those egos on. He cleared out all that dead wood. He removed the culture. He connected the fan base with the players, with the manager, with the coaching staff. There's a very good feel around the place at the moment. And in the 17 years that we've been at the Emirates, I have not seen a place like this. I have not seen a place like it. It is absolutely rocking. Home and the away fans as well. I know the away fans have always been great, but when I honestly see it, I think to myself, this is the best I've seen support-wise for a very long time. And I think Mikel Arteta has a lot to be given credit for, man. I really do. So that's the way I see it. I'm going to move on to some of your questions in a minute. I'm going to star them. So make sure you put a queue like some of the people have, and then I'll know which ones to star. And we'll run through them before we close. There's 412 people at the moment. Come on, get the likes up, people. Let's see how many likes we've got right now. We've literally got 92 likes. Come on, you can double that easily. If there's 421 of you watching, we can easily double that. So let's make sure we do that, people. Let's go into some of the links before we take some of your questions. Listen, the PSG to Arteta thing, let's park it. Yeah, I think it's rumours. I think it's rubbish. I can't lie. It'll be amazed and shocked if he goes. But let's talk about some of the things that we believe are going to be happening at Arsenal Football Club. And it's Declan Rice. Now, Declan Rice, we are being told, is getting close, right? This weekend, I imagine we'll probably have some form of an announcement. I don't know what the price will be. Whether you think it's enough, whether you think it's a lot, whether you think it's madness, let's not discuss that. We know what West Ham want. And if we want Declan Rice that much, we will get it done. And I'm quietly confident that we can probably come to some form of agreement around the 100 million plus mark. This is a massive statement signing, people. This is a Jack Grealish to Man City signing. This is a wow, okay, fair play. Like, let's be real. This is a good signing. Manchester City will be looking at that thinking, oh, that's a good signing for Arsenal. That is a good signing. And that's what I want to be seeing, man. I really want to be seeing other teams around us being jealous of our signings. And I think this summer is the summer to do it. So Declan Rice needs to happen. People say, where's he going to play? He can play in the Thomas Partey or the Granit Xhaka position. He can. I believe he could be that guy that can drive us forward in the Granit Xhaka position. People say he's not as progressive. I disagree. I think I've seen enough drive in his game at West Ham and for England to suggest that he can do both those roles. But if you do want him to be sitting and you do want him to be holding, trust me, there's some excellent, excellent stuff that this guy can do on the football. I think he's a phenomenal player. I really do. So I'm a huge, huge fan of what we're seeing. I must say that West Ham are probably asking for quite a lot. But that's the market. The market's mad. The market is absolutely mad. Let's talk Havertz, because this one's a crazy one for me. I don't know where it's come from. I felt personally as if Mason Mount was probably the way we were going to go because of the link he has with Declan Rice. And I thought that would have been the way Arsenal's thinking was, that perhaps we were swaying towards bringing both of them over to London to play for Arsenal. But it looks like Manchester United is his preference. Now, I like Mason Mount's work rate. I think he's a workhorse. I think he has a position which is an attacking midfield, and he can go across some of the other positions. I don't have the same with Havertz. Now, a lot of people are saying, why are we going for him? This is a disgrace. I don't see this one coming. My thought of it is, it don't excite me. But neither did Tomiyasu, neither did Ramsdale, neither did Ben White. If I'm honest with you, Erdegaard, I could see glimpses of quality, but I didn't go, wow. None of those signings I went wow to until they started proving it on the pitch. So I'm not going to start judging Kai Havertz until he wears an Arsenal shirt. Let me ask you a question. In the last 2 years, how many Chelsea players have performed consistently well? When he's been fit, Reece James. When he's been fit, Ben Chilwell. Thiago Silva, who's 38. Other than that, I'm struggling because Kante's dropped and he's now gone. You've got Kovacic, who started to look good and now is going to go and decline. There's not really been anybody that's been outstanding for me. And I think he comes into that as well, Havertz. He's been one that hasn't been outstanding. Now, let me ask you this. Mikel Arteta's seen signing him for whatever reason. He believes he can play in a number of positions. Okay, he's been used in a number of positions. Whether he can hold down any of them, I still have my doubts. I'm not quite sure what position he is. He doesn't seem like a number 9. He doesn't really use his strength and his presence, if I'm honest with you, which I believe are 2 attributes that he should have. He's definitely not a winger because Saka and Martinelli are quicker and pace and have drive. He doesn't seem like he has that. But when he played for Leverkusen as a number 10 or an attacking 8, he scored 17 goals in the Bundesliga. He come over to Chelsea and everyone thought he'd be a bit of a Timo Werner or maybe a Leroy Sané who just couldn't quite kill it in the English league. And I thought Sané was going to, and I still think he's a good player. Jadon Sancho is another one. But there has been players like Aubameyang, Haaland, Mesut Ozil that have come over to the Germany league, to the English league that have absolutely killed it. So could this guy do something? Mikel Arteta believes so. Mikel Arteta believes that he's the guy that they want, and we're going to have to look at that now and see where we're going. Let's be real. I'm a big fan of some of the signings that Mikel Arteta and Edu have brought in, but I'm also not a fan of some of them. And I think this myth that everything that they touch turns to gold, I don't think is always correct. I think we've got quite a bit wrong. I think we've got a lot right, but I think we've got quite a bit wrong. So this one's going to be one of those. Is he going to be a Lokonga or a Tavares, or is he going to be a Ben White and Erdegaard? The list goes on, really. Partey, Jesus, Zinchenko. We've bought probably 7 or 8 in the first team now that are all been superb. So let's see where we go with that. Lavia and Diaby. They're the two that apparently we're looking at afterwards. Now, I'm looking at this now thinking, okay, if we can't get Caicedo, which I think is crazy, by the way, if he wants to go Chelsea, who's the plan B? The plan B is Lavia. Now, I pressed the X the other night on AFTV when it got to him because I really wanted Caicedo instead of him. That doesn't mean he's no good. I actually rate the player. If we went for him and we got him, I wouldn't be crying. And Diaby is a great winger and one that we need because Saka's playing too many games. And next season, we're going to have 4 competitions. So I look at it now and I think that if we can get Moussa Diaby and Lavia in, as well as Declan Rice and Havertz, this is starting to hot up to be a very good transfer window. All transfer talk, all rumours. Let's go and do it. But it needs to be done. Let's take some of your questions. I need to look at what we have got here. Super chat, that goes first. Martin, big up yourself. If you want to throw super chats in, please do. I'll put them to the front of the queue. Martin, Rice ain't good enough, Dan. We need another centre midfielder. Martin, I'm going to disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. I think Declan Rice not only upgrades what we've got in the midfield, but has proven in the last 2 years for club and country that he can drive the team forward and on the pitch has quality, but more importantly, off the pitch, has the qualities needed for this team. I think at times, like Gary Neville has said before, we've got great professionals like Erdegaard and Zinchenko, but I'm not sure we have the leaders on the pitch. Now, Erdegaard's been a great leader this season for me. He's been leading by example. But I understand what the guys and the pundits are saying and what neutral fans say. We haven't got that leader of a Patrick Vieira or a Roy Keane figure. And I think Declan Rice could potentially be one of those. Now, I'm not saying that we should give him the captaincy ahead of Martin Erdegaard, and I don't think that will happen. But he's certainly one of the options that can take the armband for me. So I think he'd be a great signing, I can't lie. Let's take this one from Fergus. Says, sorry, last one. Do you want Havertz? Chavsky needs to sell before month ends for financial fair play. That's correct. If you sign him, what's the fee and how do you play him? For me, Kai Havertz, I think, will only be able to play in an attacking 8 or number 10. I don't see him as a wide man or as a target man. Perhaps he could do a job up top with somebody trying to flick on or trying to hold up. But I see him more as a kind of player on the ball. I think he's got some on-the-ball quality and some technical ability, but that's about as far as I've seen in a Chelsea shirt. So that's how I'd play him. The financial fair play thing, listen, we're helping Chelsea out, and I don't actually know why we're doing that, if I'm honest with you. I think it's a bit bizarre. So there we go. This one comes in from Alex. Says, Dan, do you think Arsenal's Caicedo in the end and do a Mudryk reverse? There's an interesting quote from Darmet Chef today on Sky Sports News that said Arsenal were monitoring the situation of Caicedo and that they might still be interested. So a lot of people are saying that, it's not going to happen. He's going to Chelsea, but I wouldn't rule that one out yet, is all I will say. I'd love to see it happen. I would absolutely love to see it happen. Let's go out to some of the old ones that I started earlier. Big up Wilson in the chat. Wilson says, do you think that Lavia and Rice will be good signings for Arsenal and why? Absolutely, I do. Both the right age, both have the right quality, both in positions that we need. I think Rice has leadership qualities. Lavia has quality on the ball. And I think both of their ceilings is still very high. I don't think either of them have reached their potential yet. So yes, Wilson, I do believe that would be a fantastic one. Let's go to Mark. Big up Marks. Can you see Arsenal doing a Chelsea on Chelsea and getting Caicedo? As I said earlier, I'd absolutely love to see it. I do think it would be fairly doubtful now, but there's no where that I've seen that says Arsenal have pulled out the race completely from Caicedo. So watch this space, man. We'll see how we get on. Kabir, big up yourself, says if Arteta doesn't challenge for the league and doesn't win a trophy, would you sack him? A trophy of the season would be a debatable conversation to have about Mikel Arteta's future for me. If we finish trophyless for what will be the fourth time in a row, third time in a row, no, fourth time in a row. Wow, that was ages ago, that FA Cup now. I think we would have to question what we're doing and where we're going. When is it acceptable for Arsenal to win the league would be my question to you. So I think we could have that debate if it got to that stage, but I hope it doesn't. Of course, I hope we win something. Big up Wilson again. It says, do you think Caicedo is worth more than 100 million? No. Absolutely not. What are these players done in Bellingham, Rice, and Caicedo to allow them to be worth 100 million plus? I don't get this. Unfortunately, it's the market, and if you don't pay it, you don't get the player now. It's absolutely mad to me to think that. It really is crazy. And there was a situation the other day, people were adding up 3 or 4 players that have won nothing in the players I've just mentioned, other than obviously a Conference Cup now. Wow. I can't lie. We're talking about 400 or 500 million for these guys. It is absolutely scary. So the market's gone mad. And unfortunately, Arsenal are one of the teams that haven't helped with that situation by paying odds like 72 for Pepe. Manchester United paying 100 million for Anthony, 80 for Maguire, 90 for Sancho. Chelsea paying 115 for Enzo. Wow, it is an absolute mad world. Here to there says Dan, a question. Is Havertz a make or break signing for Edward Arteta? It's perceived as much a gross misuse of resources considering he's selling Balogun also. And what about Smith Rowe? Let's take that in reverse order. Smith Rowe will stay at Arsenal, I've no doubt. I think he had an injury hit season last season, and I think personally deserves another chance. I'm not going to sit there and give up on Emil Smith Rowe after he scored 12 goals and got 6 assists season before last. So for me, he stays. And I think he can play in a number of positions, right, left, or centre, and an attacking 8, which apparently Arteta's training him for. So I'd take Smith Rowe all day in the squad, 100%. As for selling Balogun, I'd like to see him on loan in England, but apparently he wants a permanent move for first team football, if rumours are believed to be true. So watch this space on that one. If we do sell him, I hope to think we could get at least 20 to 25 million for him because he's young and he's proven he can score goals in another league. So that one will be interesting also. And is Havertz a make or break signing? I'm not going to say anything more other than I think it's a very risky signing for that much money. That's all I'm going to say on that one. This one comes in from Alfie. He says, do you think the Havertz deals to slow Chelsea down on getting Caicedo so that we can go in and get him? It would be really good, wouldn't it, to actually go and get Havertz and then say to Chelsea, right, I know you want Caicedo, but we've already agreed terms with him now, so let's go and get him. Wouldn't it be great to have that and then get him back? Because they've sold us some absolute trash over the years, man. Like when they're old and dead and buried pretty much. And we've given them players like Ashley Cole and allowed Fabregas to go back there and given them Giroud so they can go and win stuff with them. Yeah, frustrating for me, but there we go. This one comes in from Alex. Says, thoughts on Chelsea's strategy on holding players and killing talent while messing them around trying to sell them. Chelsea have done this for years, and it's frustrating because actually the loan players that they've loaned out would actually probably fit into their first team now. Like they were struggling for defenders and clinging on to Silva and buying Koulibaly at 32 years old, when actually they had Tamori, they've had Nathan Ake, they've had Mark Guehi, Tariq Lamptey, Livramento. Come on, man. Like, really? Chelsea need to actually look at themselves. It's actually quite embarrassing, to be fair. Big up Wilson. It says, do you think that Arsenal need another winger, striker, a right back, and a left back? And why, Dan? Yes, we need another winger. And like I mentioned, Moussa Diaby would cover for Saka for sure. A striker, I believe we do need one. A lot of people are saying we don't. If we get Havertz, we can play him. If Jesus is injured, we've got Eddie still, we've got Balogun still, we've got Trossard. I need to see a striker coming in. I would have gone for Ivan Toney, but it looks like that's going to be off the cards now until January. I still wouldn't rule out getting him in January, by the way. A lot of people would laugh at that. I would have him tomorrow. I think he's an all-round striker, Premier League proven, and I think would definitely do the trick. But I don't think Mikel Arteta wants another striker. I just don't see it happening. I would like one, but I just don't see it happening. Across this Pond Sports Talk, big up yourself, bro. I hope you're well, my friend. Says, how much do you think, Dan, we could offer and get Lavia for? He's 19 years old. They want 45 million, which means they'll probably get him for 35 with add-ons. I don't think that's an amazing amount of money. I actually do think that's quite a good deal for a player who has a massive, massive ceiling. He was head and shoulders above everybody in the Southampton side, and they've got some good players, to be fair, although they went down. James Ward-Prowse, Kyle Walker-Peters, Bella Kotchup. Up top, they have players who can score goals. But for me, This guy looked mustard. So I think that would be a good signing personally if we can get him for that much, which, let's be real, would be probably half of what we could get for Caicedo. Spurs have signed Kulusevski. Do you think we could sign him instead of Havertz and he's better than him? 30 million. We're not going to get Kulusevski. It's been confirmed today that they have signed him. I like the player. It would be funny, wouldn't it, to nick them from him? But that's done and dusted now, and I'm fine by that. If he's played for them, then he can stay there. As far as I'm concerned. This one's coming from Daniel Park. Says, Dad, if Rice and one of Lavia or Caicedo come in, do you still see Partey starting in the 11 most games? I think Thomas Partey starts, and it's one of their jobs to kick him out, and I don't think it's going to take long. Not just because he gets injured all the time, but actually the last few games he really dropped off, Thomas Partey, and it was concerning for me. I think Declan Rice starts 100% alongside him, and then Lavia or Caicedo are going to have to try and force one of them out. And that's what we need. This is what we need at Arsenal right now. This is the way we need to be going. I don't want to be seeing, a first 11 and then everyone sitting on the bench going, are we going to get in yet? This needs to be a squad rotation, which is what Pep does. We need to not replicate Man City. We need to go one ahead of them. The only way we do that is by buying players and by rotating. So it has to be done, man. Pete Nolan says, Dan, you just said 20 to 25 million for Balogun, yet Atalanta are asking for 100 million now for Haaland. Balogun should be at 40. Well, listen, if that's the truth, mate, then it is madness, because Balogun will be 50, like you say, because Haaland has done absolutely nothing. It's absolute craziness for me. Here to there agrees and says, look, Dan, Anthony Gordon went for 45 million. Gallagher's merited at 40 to 45. Surely we should be able to get at least that for a striker like Balogun. Well, Balogun scored a lot of goals. So for me, it's going to be interesting to see where we go with a price tag for him. Guys, there is 671 of you watching. I need you to all do me a massive favor. I need you to get me up to 9K. Please, we're literally a couple away. And one of you guys let me know when we're at it in the chat. Please smash a like on this video. It means so much. Honestly, there's so much content at the moment, so much saturated market. I really appreciate all of you for coming over and watching me. So please do leave a like and subscribe if you are new. There's going to be plenty of transfer talk every single day. I'm going to get plenty of guests on. Those of you who watch for this channel know I've got a guest for every single Premier League club. Every single club will have an influencer that will be joining us. So there we go. Guys, we've hit 9K. Thank you so much. That is amazing. That is a great target. For me to do this in 1 year, I'm really proud of that. My target was to get to 5. So I really appreciate you getting me towards past 9K. Someone that says that is absolutely amazing. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody on the channel that has contributed to that as well. That is superb. Listen, we're going to wrap up. Let me say this. There are frustrating things that happen at the transfer window. It's a little bit like going to the dentist. You just want it over with, right? And you want it all to have gone well. We're linked with Declan Rice. We're linked with Lavia. We're linked with Caicedo. We're linked with Havertz. We're linked with Diaby. And we have been linked in the past with both Cancelo and Mark Guehi. Now, we're not going to get all 7 of those players, right? But the good thing about it is we actually are linked with the players in the right positions. Players that would make this side go from touching City to actually giving them a hell of a go. Now, I look at it right now and think that people are laughing and writing Arsenal off. They're back in the Champions League. It's a fluke season. They did a Leicester. They bottled the league. They ain't going to be back. All this stuff. Let's prove them wrong. I hope that winds the players up. I hope that winds the manager up. I hope it winds the board and the ownership up. We're here. And we need to be here to stay because we're the 3rd biggest club in England and people laugh at that. No, you're not. Man City and Chelsea have overtaken. Until Man City and Chelsea can do 13 league titles and 14 FA Cups, then they can start to consider themselves. Which, to be fair, they probably will do in not long because they've got to that stage where they're up there now and they're competing and they're winning trophies. But actually, let's go and do it because that's what we should be doing. We moved to the Emirates to demand the best and to beat the best. So that's why we want to do it. We will be up there next season, I've got no doubt. We will win something because we have to. This manager has to. The pressure's on him. He has to win something. He can't spend this much money and then have nothing to show for it yet again. He's done a hell of a lot of good and deserves a hell of a lot of credit, by the way. So now we need to do it. Go and do it. That's the way I see it. Get ourselves across the line. Go and compete with the best, which at the moment is Man City. Go and win a trophy. Make sure that when we're in the Champions League, no one's laughing at us because we're just taking part. We're going into the deep stages of that. We're getting to the domestic cup finals. We're going in for a title race and we're in for the kill. We go 8 points clear. We don't bottle it. we go and win it. That's our next step. We've done a lot. We've had a lot of pain. Let's turn this pain into purpose right now. All of that stuff, it had to mean something. We had to go through that pain for a reason. Let's make it worth it now. That's what I want to be seeing. This summer, I want Rice to come in. I don't care if we go for Havertz because it's what they want. That's the way we do it. We go spend money. We get Caicedo or Lavia. We go and get Mark Guehi at the back to replace Saliba when he's not quite ready. We go and get a fullback for when Tomiyasu has another breakdown and we need somebody in when Ben White's the only one there. We go and get Moussa Diaby so that Saka can have a rest every single week. It's just too much for the lad. This is what we need. We need cover in every single position because right now we've got about 14 or 15 players and we need to get at least 20 in the door so that we can have a squad of 20 so that when anyone gets injured at any point, we can either replace them or we can rotate them. And that's where we need to go. Big up all of you for tuning in. I massively appreciate it. Thank you so much for getting me to over 9K. That means the absolute world to me. To do that in 1 year was never my target. To nearly double what my target was, I'm blessed, man. Thank you so, so much. I'm so humbled by that. And I appreciate you all. Please make sure you smash a like on your way out. Subscribe if you're new. We're going to be here every single night. You're going to see my bonds. You're going to see me. You're going to see a couple more people. And we're going to try and do a couple of shows a day now, people, and really up the content, seeing as it's the summer. So we are going to say goodbye. See you next time. And as always, up the Arsenal. Take care, people.